Tonight on Joynews Prime, National Disaster Management Organization warns communities along Tano River from Techiman to avoid drinking from it, as it could have been poisoned after a truck carrying car batteries crashed into the river following an accident. The Electricity Company of Ghana is starting mass disconnections of households involved in power theft, this time at night. Also in this bulletin, a family in the Ashanti region grieving the death of two of their children who suffocated in a vehicle after they were left locked up for hours. We speak to a road safety consultant on how these deaths could be prevented. Also in business,
a great ministry to double distribution of rice seedlings to farmers as it seeks to end importation by 2021.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joynews Prime comes to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0992539, and it's on GoTV channel 144 and DSTV channel 421. Please stay tuned in. Thanks so much for choosing us. We begin with communities along the Tano River from Techiman who rely on its water for drinking and for other household chores have been warned against consuming it, as it could be poisoned. The National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, in its warning says the river may have been poisoned after a truck carrying car batteries emptied them into the water body following an accident. The warning issued in the last few hours reads: all communities along the Tano River from Techiman, Tanoso to Chira, Duaya, Nkwanta, Bechem are advised strongly not to drink the Tano River water effective today till further notice. This release is necessitated by an accident involving an articulator truck carrying car batteries at Tanoso in the Bono East region. As a result of the accident, the acid in the battery diluted into the water, culminating to the death of several aquatic animals, including fishes, crocodiles, etc. We are by this urging all to carry the message to the target communities and people along the Tano River bank to save human lives. And it's signed by Elijah Mamoa, who is NADMO director at the Ofinso North Akumadan district. David Kwesiasare Boache is a district chief executive for Ofinso North. He joins us from the area where an operation is presently underway to retrieve from the Tano River the vehicles involved in the accident. Good evening to you, sir. Tell us more about this accident, which is feared to have caused the poisoning of the river. Hello, sir.
Hello.
You're live on Joynews Prime.
Okay.
So tell us more about this accident, which is feared to have caused the poisoning of the river.
Okay, yeah, it's true. I think this morning there is a Burkina cargo car down from, they have parked, the load is too heavy. And then the DAF car is going to Burkina. When he started to climb the hill, and then it returns back, and then it falls into the river tunnel with all the poison. And then we have informed all the people around that area that they should not drink the tunnel river. When we are going to the Sra area, that is the people there, they drink this river tunnel. So we have given information to all of them to stop drinking it until we remove the car. So I'm now standing around the area, and then we are removing the car from the river just now. So I'm around that area.
And how seriously will this impact on their water source?
Oh, it will not get any impact. we have already informed the people over there. They should not drink the water until the NADMO and then the other fire service tell them. So they have refused to drink the water at that area.
So what can you tell us about the operation to retrieve the wreckage? How far are you?
Oh, I'm around the road, and then the road is very dangerous. I have brought a pillow there, and then the fire is also, they are trying to remove all the car from the river.
How soon do you think this can be done?
Oh, within 30 minutes time, they will remove it.
Okay.
Or around less than 30 minutes, they can remove the truck from the river.
But how long are the communities supposed to stay off the water, and when can it be certified?
Oh, it's not that place where they have the dam is around. It's on the one going to Fatima is 4 on the left hand side, right left hand side, and then the dam is also on the right hand side, so it will never affect anybody around that area. It's only those at the Tra area it will affect them. Some of them are searching for water in their rural areas around them, and then we have informed the FM stations, and they have made an announcement in the afternoon.
That's why I'm asking how long the communities are supposed, the community you talk about is supposed to stay away from the water, and when will it be certified as safe for consumption?
As for that, I can't say it unless the doctors and then the other sanitation people will come and test the water before they can tell them. As for that, I don't have anything to tell anything about it. I'm
grateful for your time. David Kwesi Asare Bediako Boache is the District Chief Officer, Executive of Offenso North. Let's move on to other stories, because some households in the country have had their electricity supply disconnected for various reasons, including power theft and non-payment of bills. The Electricity Company of Ghana, in a bid to further discourage those stealing power, is however making these disconnections a lot more punitive by deciding to take out their power in the middle of the night. These nighttime disconnections, the company says, will be unannounced and targeted at industries, entertainment centers, hotels and households. This was announced at a news conference from where Henry Kwesi Bedu sent in this report.
The suits, which started late 2019, saw the arrest of over 100 defaulters during the festive season, with the power distributor recouping as much as 1.5 million Ghana cedis in revenue.
Just these holidays, within the Christmas holidays, a task force was put in place to go visiting certain hotels and certain nightclubs. And within that short period, the illegals that we detected were 100 out of 1,578 customers that we visited. 100 were involved in illegal connections. We totaled 1,079,632 kilowatt hours of electricity within just a period of 6 days that we operated on the field during the holidays. This translated to 1,460,795.79 Ghana cedis.
Power theft and illegal connections, which according to ECG has gone on for some time now, is said to be costing the utility company over $238 million annually.
The company, electricity company, is suffering a lot from power theft. Power theft or system losses constitutes about 24.6% of our losses. So that when we purchase power from our power suppliers, we lose about 24.6%. Out of the 24.6, about 10% goes for technical losses, and a whopping 14.6 goes for commercial losses. And 1% of these losses translates to approximately 17 million United States dollars. And that is an issue that is confronting the company.
General Manager of Revenue Protection at ECG, Michael Chumberima Boedu, says the nighttime disconnections will be done in collaboration with the police.
A task force has been put in place. We are soliciting the support of the police service and the security agencies to combat this crime. Unannounced visitations will be undertaken at night in hotels, nightclubs, pubs, wherever electricity is being used. And with the aid of this task force, we are bent on crashing on power theft.
ECG is, however, urging Ghanaians to report those illegally drawing electricity.
We want to inform the general public that if you know of any power theft going on anywhere, be a good citizen. Let Electricity Company of Ghana be aware. Inform us for us to deal with such culprits. And again, all informants who bring power theft information to this company have a stake in the company, in the sense that the company has a package for you if you bring information to our knowledge.
Henry Kwesi Bedu's report for Joynews.
Northern Regional Minister Said Salifu is tonight dismissing claims by dismissed CEO of the Northern Development Authority that an MPP-linked group stole over 400 tricycles belonging to the authority on his orders. He has finally broken his silence on the weeks-old controversy in a statement earlier today. The Kandahar boys allegedly forcibly took the tricycles away without authorities' consent, reportedly on the orders of the regional minister. Former Chief Executive Officer of the authority, Dr. Abdul Majid Harun, filed a police complaint over the missing bikes. The statement by Northern Regional Minister Said Salifu reads, "My attention has been drawn to a letter in which the dismissed Chief Executive Officer of the Northern Development Authority, Dr. Alhaji Abdul Majid Harun, has claimed that I directed that some tricycles be picked from the NDA yard. I wish to state categorically and unequivocally that I did not direct anyone or group of persons or company to pick any item from the premises of the NDA yard in my name or the Northern Regional Coordinating Council. For the records, I was the same person who ensured the protection of said items upon my appointment until the appointment of the CEO of NDA. The said claim being purported by the letter of the former NDA boss and Kelvin Taylor's report is false and palpable lie. This is an attempt to sell my hard-earned reputation and hard work. If I was really behind the tricycles pickup, I would have written formally to the NDA, given clear directions and the locations to deposit the items." As head of the Regional Security Council, there was the need for the CEO, who had access to me, to verify before allowing so-called assignees of mine to pick those tricycles as claimed. I therefore joined calls for the NDA to, as a matter of urgency, open a full-scale investigation into the entire tricycles matter dating back to 2016 in accordance with the laid-down procedures and laws. I wish to also add that no one is above the law, and as a law-abiding citizen, criminals, irrespective of their political lineage, must be dealt with accordingly. And it's signed by Salifu Said, who is Northern Regional Minister. Our correspondent Ilyasu Tanko now joins me on phone. Where are the motorbikes now, Ilyasu?
Hi, Asha. We are waiting on the police to give us this particular answer, because they have initiated an active investigation into this matter. But sources have been telling us that these motorbikes are sold to some individuals, and they are in towns, in districts up here in the northern region. And so what we are learning currently is that these motorbikes that were said to be stolen from the yard of the NDA is currently being used commercially by a lot of people who we understand bought them. And so even though the police are yet to come out with the results of their investigation, but our sources, many people who have cited and spoken to people who have bought this have confirmed to us that the motorbikes are in use as we speak.
But Eliasu, how is this incident linked to the dismissal of the Northern Development Authority CEO last month?
Well, actually, we saw the crumbling of the starter and the political backlash that came out of it. And so when this particular incident happened, the way the CEO was removed from office has made a lot of people to start propounding equalization theory. People believe that this particular incident has direct link with the firing of the CEO. And here is it. This particular tricycle were taken out from the NDA yard on the 27th of October. The next day, we saw a letter from the CEO, the SAC CEO, writing to the regional minister and expressing his displeasure about the incident, ostensibly because those who came to cut away this particular tricycle used the name of the regional minister. And after this particular incident, we also understand that there were issues that have to do with the party, and it was sorted out before the MDA, the board went to report the case to the police. And so they are highly suspicious that because the NDA moved out of the decision that were taken, whatever, in this particular party meeting, that angered the party authorities to call for his removal.
Many thanks, Eliasu Tanko, for that update. Eliasu Tanko is our Northeast region correspondent, and he's been updating us on the missing tricycles and a statement that has been issued to that regard. Now, police in the Ashanti region are investigating the circumstances under which two children were found dead in their father's vehicle at Asawase. Abdulaziz Seiko, aged 8, and Abdul Ghaffar, aged 5, are believed to have been suffocated after Suleiman Seiko allegedly left them locked up in his Toyota Venza on arrival at his shop last week, Thursday. The motorbike spare parts dealer reportedly forgot he had been moving with the children, who were in the back seat of the vehicle. After waiting for hours without hearing from his sons, who usually go to him for money for food, the father became apprehensive and mounted a search for them, only to discover their bodies in his own car after several hours. Traumatized over the development, the father, who lives at Duase, reportedly drove the vehicle with the bodies of the children to lodge a complaint with the Kenyan Police. Postmortem report puts the cause of death as asphyxia, a condition where the body is deprived of oxygen. The two bodies were deposited at Komfanochi Teaching Hospital morgue. The children were buried over the weekend, and the police have forwarded the docket to the Attorney General's department. And there have been similar incidents reported in the past here in Ghana and across the globe. And the story shook us in the newsroom with several of my colleagues wondering how this could have happened. Now, we are joined via Skype by road safety consultant Cecil Gabra. Good evening to you. Many thanks for joining us on Joy News Prime.
Good evening.
Are you able to explain how these children could have died by just being in locked vehicle, and under what circumstances could vehicles become death traps?
Well, in the first place, first of all, said sorry to the family. This is quite normal. It happens a lot with a lot of mistakes from mechanics and ourselves. Right, the leather seat itself in the vehicle is poisonous, and when the sun reflects on the leather seat, it produces a lot of poison. Therefore, it will be very difficult for any human being to breathe without any air. Now, these things happen a lot of time, and I'll say it's coming from everybody. we just need to put up safety measures in place, especially at workshops. I mean, we hear this a lot. Right, at workshops, for instance, we should make sure, I mean, if you have taken your vehicle to the workshop, I think we should do a lot more of education than to condemn whatever has happened. So I'll say the mechanic that you're leaving the vehicle with must inspect the vehicle and make sure that he looks under the seat and everywhere. All valuables, any human being and so on must be out of the vehicle, and it must be locked. In other cases, batteries must even be removed from the vehicle. Now, keys must be kept by the mechanics. It should be kept at a lock that nobody can get access to. Now, even at home, there are a lot of safety measures that we should be putting in place if you have kids around. Kids can easily pick up your keys and play very nice games and go and hide in the car like we all have been doing in the past. And once you go into the car, it's very difficult for you to open such a vehicle, especially if the child lock has been activated, right? So the child lock has been activated. Once you enter the vehicle, you can never open it. You cannot roll the glasses if it is a remote-controlled window, powered window by the battery of the vehicle. So parents must hide keys, must keep keys out of the reach of children. Mechanics must be educated on this aspect that, look here, you must not leave the key anywhere so that any attendant or any of your boys could just, enter the vehicle. Now, apart from that, there is one important thing that we all need to do, especially when you're taking your vehicle to the workshop. Just make sure that you pick up all the valuables, not only the human aspect, but every valuable. Don't leave anything in your vehicle to attract the children, such as laptops, phones, and so that's what they see and they enter. Once they enter and there's any child lock in the vehicle, definitely they are stuck. And just like I said earlier on, the leather in the vehicle itself is poisonous. People put on their air conditioners in the afternoons and breathe in the car. I mean, they are breathing poison. When you put even your air conditioner, you need to roll down your glasses, drive for about 5-10 minutes, let the vehicle cool down before you roll up your windows and enjoy your air conditioner. So I think it's all to do with safety measures. And mothers, fathers must look for their children immediately they come back from school. I mean, those days we'll be giving homework so that you don't go and play football. I mean, let's have that practice that children must stay at home and they must be monitored. A lot of children are not monitored these days. I mean, they close from school and they are supposed to be home at a particular time. They are not. It's also coming from we parents. It looks like we are so busy and we don't care about our children. So it's all about safety measures done, playing blame games that you have done it and so on. But the father of the children must be blamed in this case, although I'm saying no blame games, right? We need to be quite particular in terms of looking out for our children. I mean, that's a big mistake, and he could even be charged for manslaughter. I was just reading something on BBC, and people are being charged for this purpose. Now, there's this issue where people also leave their children in the vehicle and then switch on the air conditioner and go to a shop. That is also very wrong. Children must go with them. Carry your children along wherever you're going. Don't leave them in the car unattended to. It's also a traffic. I'll say the laws are there. LI 210 states categorically that you must not leave any child who is 5 years under 5 years in the vehicle alone, especially at the front seat. It's a traffic offense and you need to be arrested for that purpose.
I'm grateful for your time. Cecil Gabra is road safety consultant and he's been giving some tips on how we can prevent such accidents. Now, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association is accusing the Ministry of Communications of attacking media freedom by doctoring standards for free-to-air television access approved by the Ghana Standards Authority. In a statement, Giba claimed the requirement for free-to-air broadcasting expected after Ghana migrates onto the digital terrestrial platform has been changed unilaterally by the Communications Ministry. The association warns the moves by the Communications Ministry will lock down the liberalized airwaves and send the nation back to the dark days of government monopolized and controlled media. Let's speak to Andrew Danso Ahinkra, who is president of GIBA. Good evening to you, sir. Many thanks for your time. So what exactly are your concerns with the Ministry of Communications?
So basically what we are saying is that Ghana needs to migrate from analog to digital. And we have worked on this for some time. We've gotten to the point where we think we are ready to migrate. Unfortunately, we seem to find blocks, encumbrances that are not needful, especially when it comes to the policy by which we have to carry out the migration. For instance, GIBA has held the view that we do not need conditional access to be able to migrate. That is number one. And number two, that the management of the single platform that is going to manage broadcasting in the country would be best managed by public and private partnership. When we have public and private partnership, it builds confidence in the industry players. Everybody believes that we can have a say. Currently, as we have the analog system, each and every one of us controls his transmission. Of course, a transmission being free on air, what it means is that we are able to determine what kind of content we would put in there. Again, the fact that we depend on advertising revenue sets the platform for us as to how we do our operations. If overnight we are told that we are all being changed to pay TV, which we are not ready for, and nobody is discussing it with anybody, we believe when that happens, you are changing the modus operandi of television in the country. That is number one. Number two, if you have a company which is being managed by government, and that company can decide what should happen overnight. For instance, after the Ghana Standards Authority has set the standard and said that we don't necessarily need conditional access as a basic requirement for television transmission in Ghana, then after the Ghana Standards Authority, the authorized and recognized standard setting body in this country has come out with its standards. In fact, let me state that the Ghana Standards Authority is not just an entity, but the technical committee is made up of the National Communication Authority, representatives of the National Communications Authority, the Ministry of Communication, and other experts. And they met and they decided that it was not necessary. So if you have one company which is not known, which I think is being called the National Digital Television Transmission Company, which can write to the NCA from nowhere, and the NCA can overnight publish a different document and say, now this is the standard that we are working with. We believe when we all go this way, one day we will wake up and NCA would say everybody will have to go left. But the next day they will come back and say everybody will have to go right. And that does not set a good pace for us as far as the industry is concerned.
You're accusing the Ministry of Communications of stifling the media freedom. What interest do you think the ministry has in this?
I think the ministry will have to respond to some of the queries that we have raised as far as these issues are concerned. Now, we believe that there is something untoward in there. In fact, let me state it categorically that the way the ministry is going about this, especially introducing digiboxes or what we call decoders into the system, we believe that it is a way of getting a company introduced into this country which will be competing in the broadcasting arena and being given a head start in the competition. What it means is this: after you have changed the whole system into pay TV, and one company is managing the pay TV setup in the country, we, the private broadcasters, will be the ones producing content for this particular broadcasting company or transmission company, the owner of that particular platform. If government decide in future that we are no more doing pay TV, the number of boxes that have been sold into the system would remain in the system, and it gives that person or that entity, that private entity, the head start over all of us in the competition. Again, what it also means is that that company, so long as we don't know their control, can decide what to take and what not to take without consulting anybody. And that is unfair. We believe that the ministry is helping a particular company perpetrate unfairness in the television trade.
So in this situation, what do you expect the Ghana Standards Authority to do?
Well, the Ghana Standards Authority have spoken, and they have said categorically that what the ministry is doing is unfair. That is very emphatic, even though the headlines seem to say that the ministry had not done anything wrong, or let's say the National Communication Authority had not done anything wrong. The body of the statement is that what they are doing is not fair, and that they need to engage everybody, in fact, which they have done already, and we have spoken our mind. We believe that the authorities that are in place must listen to the people who voted them into office. The consumers, the business entities that are operating in the particular field are the ones who are talking about how the place will have to be managed. We ask ourselves this question: what do the consultants know that we don't know? We have spoken, and we have said that we have given alternatives to what they want to do. Why is it, and what is the interest that makes whatever the consultants say overnight become a law in this country? That is unfair, and we will continue to repeat that is unfair, and it should not be perpetrated on Ghanaians, especially when it has taken us hard-earned currency to establish television in the country.
I'm extremely grateful for your time. Andrew Danso Ahinkra is president of GIBA. Still to come in this bulletin, a Greek ministry to double distribution of rice seedlings to farmers as it seeks to end importation by 2021.
These years, I've been harvesting 3-4 bags of 50 kilograms every acre, are able to do up to 40 bags.
The details in the business segment shortly. Now time for the rest of our stories. Director of Election of the Opposition NDC, Elvis Afriyie-Ankrah, is accusing the Electoral Commission of attempts to manipulate the 2020 elections. Mr. Afriyie-Ankrah has been reacting to the EC's claim all necessary stakeholder engagements have been held, including the release of a consultant report on procurement of the new voter register requested by the NDC. You'll hear from Elvis Afriyie-Ankrah, but first listen to Deputy EC Chairperson Eric Bosman-Asari speaking earlier on the Super Morning Show.
The Commission noticed that moving forward in the interest of our democracy, it will be better for us to be able to have a new register, have new equipment, etc. And based on the discussion we also had with our other consultants internally and externally, it became very clear that to go ahead with the current equipment, specifically the data center we have, the biometric verification devices and biometric voter registration equipment, will be having a lot of challenges. So it will be better for us to have a new one. And once we do that, we'll be able to have a register that is credible.
Well, here's a rebuttal from the Director of Elections of the NDC, Elvis Afriyie-Ankrah, who says he is shocked and scandalized by what he describes as deception of the EC.
There was no consensus. We raised a lot of counterfactuals, and then they said there was a consultant's report. And so we asked for that report. We also asked for the cost of the new equipment as well as the cost of upgrading the equipment, because they stated that it was going to cost more to upgrade the system than to put a new one in place. So we asked for this. And all the political parties indeed asked for that document. And we followed up with a letter to the EC a few days afterwards. We've never, till date, received any response from the EC, only for us to be invited to a tender evaluation thing on the 10th of December. And that is one of the reasons why we walked out of that meeting, because we thought that the EC were not being transparent. And I was shocked and scandalized that a former deputy commissioner of the EC will sit on public radio and deceive the entire Ghanaian public that they have shared that information with us. They have never shared it with us. He's saying that they held a press conference. I mean, which administrator can say this? Administrator was his fault. It is salt. But we write a letter to you, a formal letter, requesting for documentation that will enable us to make informed decisions on a matter in which we are major stakeholders. You do not respond to us. You have not given us any information. And then you come on air and you are spewing out falsehoods and churning out figures to deceive the public. If those informations are there, and if there is nothing to hide, why don't you bring it out in a transparent manner so that we'll all sit around the table, discuss it, as it happened during the time of Dr. Farajan, when we're going to have the initial biometric register. The various political parties nominated people. We all sat down together with the EC team in a very transparent manner. We looked at the modalities, we looked at the issues and the challenges, and everybody came out. We came out with a system that is robust, that will work. What is it that they are hiding?
So what next for the NDC as the EC is bent on forging ahead with the new register despite the criticisms and resistance? Here's Elvis Ifriankra again, adding the party suspects foul play on the part of the EC.
We are also insistent on using every legal and political means as possible to resist it. Tamale was just, we just started. Very soon you're going to hear of us. We're going to deploy many other activities. We will resist it to the last one. We are not going to allow it to happen. Because they are not being transparent, they are not being sincere, they are not being truthful to the people of Ghana. You have a register that has served this purpose. You yourself said the register is credible, but overstretched. What kind of language is overstretched? What is it that they are hiding? That they don't want to have an honest, open, transparent process that everybody will bring their views, even external experts can come in, and we can all agree together. That if somebody is not being transparent, then it means they have something to hide. So probably they are colluding with the political party to manipulate the system.
Do you have evidence to that effect?
Logical deduction, isn't it?
Are you saying that you have suspicions that the EC is conniving with the government to do something untoward?
It is looking like that. It is looking very much so. Because it doesn't
any evidence to that?
The evidence is in the fact that they have consistently been lying.
And that's how we wrap up Joynews Prime. For more news, but before that, cervical cancer will kill 1,500 Ghanaian women this year. Sadly, a simple screening to enable health professionals detect the disease early and save the lives is not widely available to all Ghanaian women. Statistics from the World Health Organization shows that 90% of deaths from cervical cancer happened in low and middle income countries like Ghana. Stay for our hotline documentary Cervix in Crisis, which airs at 8:30. And that will be it for the bulletin. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com and for updates of the developing stories. On behalf of the rest of the team, have a great one.